here are a few of the most dangerous airports in the world. Number 10. Cristiano Ronaldo Airport, Portugal. Madeira is an archipelago in the North Atlantic Ocean that's one of 2 autonomous regions of Portugal. The Madeiran capital is mainly known for the historic city of Funchal, a popular resort destination and the birthplace of Cristiano Ronaldo. But hold up, it's also known as the home to one of the most dangerous runways on Earth. Pilots flying into the coastal airport must undergo additional training, studying the approach in detail. Airlines wishing to fly into Funchal require special approval from the Portuguese Aviation Authority. No instrument landing system approach exists at Funchal, so pilots must navigate the challenging terrain manually. The destination is particularly tough because of the strong and highly variable Atlantic winds. Basically, there's mountains on one side and the ocean on the other. As if that weren't enough, the runway has been extended on stilts. The extension has actually been constructed on 180 concrete pillars, each standing 230 feet above the rocky, wind-swept coastline. It's kind of insane when you look at it from the side. Number 9. TENZING-HILLARY Airport, Nepal. TENZING-HILLARY, or Lukla Airport, is a small airport in the town of Lukla in eastern Nepal. The airport is situated in the Himalayas at 9,000 feet above sea level. This high altitude often causes difficulty for the pilot to control the landing speed of the plane. The airport is popular because Lukla is the place where most people start to climb the Mount Everest base camp. There are daily flights between Lukla and Kathmandu during daylight hours. Well, in good weather anyways. Although the flying distance is short, high winds, cloud cover, and changing visibility often means flights can be delayed or the airport is just simply closed. The runway is a short asphalt strip. It's only 1,500 feet long and 65 feet wide with a gradient of 12% from north to south. Because of its size, it can only accommodate small airplane and helicopters. The topography of the runway makes any go-around impossible. At the south, the runway is at the end of an angled drop of about 2,000 feet. This cliff is fenced off, thank goodness, as a precautionary measure. At the northern end of the runway, there's a huge mountain terrain. Pretty much, this airport doesn't have much room for error. The landing plane comes from the north to the south of the runway, so the plane will have to go around the mountain and land on an uphill runway. Hey, at least they planned out this one pretty well, because being uphill helps stop the plane before it hits the fence and falls off the cliff. Number 8. BARRA Airport, Scotland. Have you ever landed on a beach? The airport of the tiny outer Hebridean island of BARRA is actually a wide, shallow bay which scheduled planes land, making it a pretty cool curiosity in the world of aviation. The tiny Scottish airport on the edge of the Atlantic Ocean has been voted the world's most stunning landing spot in 2011. The airport is unique, being the only one in the world where scheduled flights use an actual beach as the runway. Flight times are dictated by the tide, and the runway is washed away every night because at high tide these runways are under the sea. The beach is set out with 3 runways in a triangle marked by permanent wooden poles at their ends. The aerodrome isn't licensed for night use, although emergency flights occasionally operate at night from the airport with vehicle lights used to illuminate the runway and reflective strips laid onto the beach. Number 7. MATEKANE Airstrip, Lesotho. MATEKANE Airstrip is an airport in Lesotho with a 1,300-foot runway that extends to the edge of a 2,000-foot cliff. Located high in the mountains, takeoffs here are not for the faint of heart. The runway is often used by charitable organizations and doctors to access remote villages in the area and is labeled as having one of the world's scariest runways. Because of the small 1,300-foot long runway, becoming airborne at the end of the tarmac is virtually impossible. Instead, you drop down the face of a 2,000-foot cliff until you, start flying. Or you hope you do anyways. Apparently, pilots have said that the rule in the mountains is that it's better to take off downwind and downhill. Yeah, I'd have to say that's a good rule to follow. Number 6. SKIATHOS Airport, Greece. SKIATHOS Airport is an airport on the island of SKIATHOS, Greece. Because of the uneven terrain on the island of SKIATHOS, SKIATHOS Airport was created by reclaiming land from the sea between SKIATHOS Island and the smaller island of Lazareta, effectively joining the 2 islands into one larger island. The location makes for an amazing scenery for those on the plane flying in, and a memorable experience for those who are brave enough to stand directly under the plane's path. The runway is characterized as short and narrow. but I mean, it doesn't seem that way. Its runway is over 5,300 feet long, and it's able to accommodate aircraft up to the size of a Boeing 757. The airport's runway and its proximity to an adjacent public road have made it a popular destination just to watch planes land. Tourists gather at the edge of the island's airport every day to experience the thrill of a passenger jet just above them. Tourists don't go there just for landings, but they also watch planes take off. However, it can be a painful lesson why it isn't a good idea to stand in the way of a powerful jet blast. Apparently, people could end up being hit with sand, rocks, and other debris whipped up by the rush of air from the engines. Aye! Number 5. JUANCHO YRAUSQUIN Airport, SABA. JUANCHO YRAUSQUIN Airport is an airport on the Dutch Caribbean island of SABA. The minuscule airport, named after the Aruban minister JUANCHO YRAUSQUIN, has a strange claim to fame. It's the world's shortest commercial landing strip, and some people say it's one of the most dangerous. The landing strip at the JUANCHO YRAUSQUIN Airport stretches for just a little over 1,300 feet before steep cliffs on either end threaten to take the plane into the water. That's also assuming the aircraft doesn't run into the high hills flanking one side. Large planes are of course unable to land at the airport because of the length of the runway. The only airline that flies regularly scheduled trips is WINAIR. It's a short 12-minute flight from the island of St. Martin. It's either that or a 90-minute boat ride. Number 4. Ice Runway, Antarctica. The Ice Runway is the principal runway for the U.S. Antarctic program during the summer Antarctic field season. Because of its proximity to McMurdo Station, black ice provides a tricky landing surface for planes and is formed when snow falls onto the glacier, gets compacted, and then recrystallizes. The runway for wheeled aircraft is constructed at the start of each season and is used until early December when the sea ice begins to break up. Subsequently, flight operations are moved back to Williams Field, one of the other ice strips on the Antarctic. Talk about being on thin ice. Pilots landing planes on the sea ice runway have said that the surface is stable, pretty much landing on concrete. However, that's where the similarity stops when the jet aircraft rolls to a stop. The weight of the plane causes the plane to sink into the ice, although it's only a matter of inches. If you do ever decide to fly to Antarctica, it's a back to basics experience. Then again, if you're the type of person who's flying to Antarctica, you're probably used to that anyways. The flight also has the possibility of not touching down at all. If the weather is bad, the aircraft will have to turn around and head back and wait until conditions clear before attempting to land again, on a patch of ice. Yeah. Number 3. Gibraltar International Airport, Gibraltar. Fitting an airport into an area that measured just 2.3 square miles probably wasn't any easy task, but Gibraltar had a novel way of solving the issue. The airport, which serves the British Overseas Territory, has made full use of the minimal space and lack of flat land available by building its only runway through its busiest road. Great idea, right? It means that cars traveling along Winston Churchill Avenue must stop for planes several times a day. Winston Churchill Avenue is the main road that heads towards the border with Spain. The road intersects the airport runway and consequently has to be closed every time a plane lands or departs. For about 10 minutes, traffic stays at a standstill to allow flights to depart and arrive from UK cities including London, Birmingham, or Manchester. A pair of barriers close for every landing and departure, which currently number around 30 a week, all flying to and from the United Kingdom. The airport is just 1,500 feet from the center of Gibraltar, the shortest commute of any major airport in the world. In 2015, the airport handled over 4,100 total flights. Number 2. Courchevel Altiport, France. Courchevel Altiport is an altiport serving Courchevel, a ski resort in the French Alps. What's an altiport, you ask? An altiport is an aerodrome for small airplanes and helicopters, situated on mountainous terrain. This particular altiport has a very short runway that's a little over 1,700 feet long. There's no go-around procedure for landings at Courchevel because of the surrounding mountainous terrain. Oh yeah, what's a go-around? A go-around, which is sometimes called overshoot, is an aborted landing of an aircraft that's on final approach. The airport is considered dangerous because it has a difficult approach and an unsloped runway. Ice and unpredictable winds are always a concern for the pilots. Pilots have to meet rigorous training requirements before being able to land at this altiport. The runway has no instrument approach procedure or lighting aids, making landing in fog and low clouds unsafe and practically impossible. The French Aviation Authority actually doesn't allow commercially chartered private flights to land at Courchevel because of the short length of the runway, the uphill gradient of the runway, the steep approach, and the no-go-around procedure. Seriously, who really wants to land here? Number 1. Gisborne Airport, New Zealand. Gisborne Airport is a small regional airport that's located on the western outskirts of Gisborne, the east coast of North Island of New Zealand. This airport is one of the very few airports in the world that has a railway line intersecting the runway. Seriously, just why'd they plan it in that way? The Gisborne Airport has 3 grass runways and 1 main runway that's intersected by the Palmerston North Gisborne Railway line. The rail route is still active and obviously the airport is as well. The airport uses the runway every day between 6:30 in the morning and 8:30 at night, and after that, the runway is sealed off till morning. The railway track splits the runway almost in the middle, and very often trains or aircraft are stopped until one of them moves on. With this setup, it's a very challenging task for airport authorities to manage arrivals and departures at the runway. The operational rail route has scheduled departures and arrivals itself. The airport is the major link to the small region of Gisborne and has more than 60 domestic flights, with more than 150,000 passengers flying through this airport each year. Here's what's next.
Slackliner and highliner, Potter sometimes drew criticism for his daring stunts. In 2006, for example, he ruffled a few feathers when he climbed delicate